This week, we're drawn back to the Butternut Valley. There's something about the communities that blossomed in this fertile vale that beckons us to explore more. The village of Morris, like many other communities in Otsego County, has a rich history of agriculture.
Long before the village of Morris was even a village, the first fair and cattle show was held here in 1835. Today, 175 years later, the Otsego County Fair is still held here.
I wish you were here. You are alone for many a hard year. Only better, no shadow of a man will ever keep me from doing what I can. If I have a daughter, I want to bless her.
Morris may be a small town, but you don't have to leave town to find everything that you need, because right here at the family market, the Morris Family Market, is an old-fashioned supermarket. As a matter of fact, I overheard a conversation between the owner and one of their customers, and he was saying to her that last week during the bad weather, he would have gladly taken her groceries to her house so she wouldn't be without them.
Waking up at dawn's early light, hear the rooster crow out low, baling hay, and when the chores are done, drive the town to see a show. Riding back in the dead of night, hear the crickets sing this song.
Down through the years in our travels, we have come across several Linn tractors, and the people who own them have this, I don't know, this excitement about being the owner of a Linn tractor. As it turns out, the Linn tractor was developed right here in Morris, New York by H.H. Linn. And how did he happen to come to Morris, New York? He had a dog and pony show that he was coming through with. He stayed here and started to experiment with his dream machine, and it later became the very famous, world-famous Linn tractor. If you want to see one up close, there's one on display here in Morris, right in the middle of town on Main Street, next to the firehouse. They even built this little museum to keep it from the elements and to keep it in good shape.
Everyone knows when the Otsego County Fair arrives in Morris, when all the bright tents seem to magically appear at the fairgrounds. The tents for the fair and many other events throughout the region are made right here in Morris at Morris Tent Rentals.
When Mr. Linn brought his dog and pony show here to Morris back in the early 1900s, he would perform under the canvas. Were he to come here today, he'd be performing under the vinyl. Vinyl is the modern material used here at Morris Tent Rentals. Here they produce tents of many shapes, sizes, and colors, and you can find them at county fairs throughout New York State. Had you attended Cal Ripken's induction ceremony in Cooperstown at the Hall of Fame, his tent came from here as well.
It starts out by we get the material off the roll. We should get it shipped on the roll. It gets measured out. We have a pattern that we go by to cut out our pieces. From here, it goes upstairs where we have heat sealers that weld the pieces together, pretty much. And then once all your pieces are welded according to that pattern, it then goes to the sewing machine, which I run a scallop valance around the perimeter of the whole tent. And then from there, it goes to another machine where it then gets hardware put on it, your D-rings, your rings, what have you, grommets, ropes, stuff like that that you'll need for setup. And then make a bag for it, gets a label, a certificate, fire retardant label put on it, and it gets shipped right out.
Morris Tent Rentals makes and rents tents for any occasion. To see the many designs produced right here in Morris, visit morristentrentals.com.
Can see traveling round the Mohawk Valley. Let's see what we can see.
While we were visiting Morris Tent Rentals, we were reminded of the happiness that goes along with a wedding. Well, there's also a story that is connected here to Morris, which is not quite so happy, because in the early 1800s, the Cooper families and the Morris families were going to be united in marriage. Hannah Cooper, the sister of James Fenimore Cooper, was on her way to visit her betrothed, was coming right along this road, Her horse bolted and she was thrown to the ground and died. 2 communities were steeped in sorrow, and within 1 year they erected this monument to commemorate what happened. And I read something here that I've never heard before. When they referred to her being thrown to the ground, and in an instant, quote, "the black camel of death kneeled at her door."
James Fenimore Cooper deeply mourned his sister's death, and many believe that some of the female characters he later created were inspired by her. He wrote of innocent women exposed to deadly dangers, but used his power as a writer to spare them.